Good evening, family, and new callers on this Monday night, and welcome to Willie's Truth Call on this April 1st, 2019. Hope you had a beautiful and safe weekend and a beautiful and safe day this past day. At this time, I'd like to start the call off with a prayer. Dear Creator Crexland, I'm calling on you at this time to watch and protect the family and myself tonight on our conference call. I'm asking you to protect us against Macaw's evil and against all evil, both seen and unseen, and all future evils. I'm asking for the same divine protection for every man and woman of your Nasara White Knight teams worldwide. Continue to protect these good men and women so they may bring forth your Nasara, so that we may have our freedom, our sovereignty, and our prosperity given back to us. I'm also asking you to chasten us and bestow wisdom, restore common sense in all of us that's in receivership of great wealth, your blessed wealth. Make us all understand that this blessed wealth must be used for good and not evil. All this I ask in the mighty name of my Am. In the mighty name of my Creator Crexland, I ask it all. So be it. Let it be done. Family and new calls, I'd like to make an announcement about the call disclosure at this time. I'm neither a lawyer, doctor, financial advisor, consultant, or a banker. Any answers that I give to anyone that calls in to ask me a question is strictly of my own opinion and should not be misunderstood nor mistaken as me giving advice. I'm not an advisor of any kind. As always, family, I must and always like giving thanks to our brother Gene, who is the webmaster and administrator for www.williestruthcall.com website. Thanks so much, my brother Gene, for everything you do for all of us. I want to thank you for being my brother and my true friend for all these years, Gino. Thank you so much. Okay, the queue is now open for everyone at this time. The queue is now open for all of my brothers and sisters this time, whether you're new to the call or an old family member. At this time, I'm requesting for 22 callers at this time to please press star 6 at this time to put yourself into the queue. Now, if you have any questions for me, Willie, or any subject matter that you want to discuss, please press star 6 at this time to put yourself into the queue. If you have any local, state, or national intel, please press star 6 at this time to put yourself into the queue. If you have any information you would like to share, whether it's locally, in the city and the state that you live in, or from another call or other individuals or elsewhere, please press star 6 at this time to put yourself into the queue. Okay. First caller is my brother and our brother, Brother Ronald.
Good evening, Mr. Willie, sir. How you doing tonight?
All right, my brother. How are you doing?
Fine, great. Kudos to Brother Gene, one who knows, and our wonderful family. I'd like to get started with the market report, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. You gave me permission to get a market report.
Yeah.
Market report. I could say eggs is $2 a dozen. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Well, that's true.
Yes, sir. The Dow tonight, it showed that it's up 1.27%, and that equates to a rise in points of 329.74, and it leveled off at 258.42. The NASDAQ is up 1.29%, equivalent to a rise in points of 99.59. It leveled off at 7828.91. The S&P 500 is up 1.16%, equivalent to a rise in points of 32.79, and leveled up to 2867.19. GE shows a gain of 0.70%. Stock price at $10.06. Now, Japan Nikkei 225 is up 0.52%, equivalent to a rise in points of 112.28, and leveled off at 21.66. Hong Kong Hang Seng is up 0.176%, equivalent to a rise in points of 519.64, and leveled off at 29,562.02. London Fish 100 is up 0.52%, equivalent to a rise in points of 38.39, and it leveled off at 7317.38. Germany DAX is up a 1.35%, equivalent to a rise in points of 158.06, and it levels off at 11,681.99. Now, Mr. Willie, before I proceed, I would like to say this. I don't believe it. I don't believe any of it. Okay. Now, gold is down a 0.09%, down to $1,293. Silver is down a 0.13% to $15.08. These false readings, they talk about fake news, but boy, somebody need to talk about this. Top investing stories for the night are as follows. Why hitting the Fed's panic button would be a bad idea for the economy. Why hitting the Fed's panic button would be a bad idea for the economy. That's number one. Number two, this IPO market is nothing like late 1990s craziness. Again, number two, this IPO market is nothing like late 1990s craziness. Number three, Wells Fargo CEO is out. Here's how the bank can end its crisis. Number three again, Wells Fargo CEO is out. Here's how the bank can end its crisis. Number four, Saudi Aramco is the world's most profitable company. Number four again, Saudi Aramco is the world's most profitable company. And last but not least, number five, EasyJet says Brexit uncertainty is hurting its business. Again, EasyJet says Brexit uncertainty is hurting its business. Which would you prefer, Mr. Willie, sir?
1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5 it is. Okay. And by the way, Mr. Willie, would you like to comment on these numbers that we are seeing and what's that all about? Do you have anything you'd like to say about that?
Just something very brief, that all these numbers are bogus. Numbers.
Absolutely.
They're all manufactured.
Yes, sir. And again, you said 1, 3, and 5. 1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, why hitting the Fed's panic button would be a bad idea for the economy? Somebody's got their thinking cap on or something. The American stock market is flirting with record highs. Unemployment is near the lowest level in a half a century, and wages are finally rising. Against the backdrop, the Trump administration is pushing an unusual idea that has puzzled economists. The Federal Reserve needs to slash interest rates immediately. Larry Kudlow, the White House top economic advisor, told CNBC on Friday that he wants the Fed to lower interest rates by half a percentage point right away. I'm echoing the president's view, Kudlow said. The Fed normally reserves such a dramatic step for a crisis moment. And while growth has slowed, And while growth has slowed, this does not feel like one of those times. Where is the emergency? Asked Mark Zandi, chief economist of Moody's Analytics. There is no economic argument for cutting rates. The Fed slashed rates by more than a quarter point on multiple occasions last decade, before and during the Great Recession. For example, it lowered rates by half a percentage point in September 2007 as the subprime melted down affected global financial markets. That summer, 2 Bear Stearns hedge funds blew up, a bad omen of the crisis to come. Even though today's economy is in vastly better shape, such a drastic step by the Fed could undermine confidence. It's the equivalent of hitting a panic button for any central bank in any cycle, said Nicholas Colas, co-founder of Data Track Research. Investors, business owners, and households could respond in kind, potentially creating the very recession that Kudlow seems to suddenly feel. If the Fed's in panic mode, shouldn't we be, Zandy said, I'm going to batten down the hatches, hire less, spend less. It could become self-fulfilling. What do you think about all this, Mr. Willie, sir, so far?
Nothing but rhetoric, because the Fed is not going to be allowed to play around with the interest rates. But see, the people like Kudlow and a lot of these big players on the stock market think the Fed is God.
Right.
Okay? But they want to try to impress to the general public that everything centers around the Fed when it doesn't. Okay? It centers around our Creator.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
All right? All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It says, the next subtitle, Anything But Crisis Mode. Some of Kudlow's former CNBC colleagues raised their eyebrows at his comments. Cutting rates by 0.5 percentage point presumes we're in crisis mode, CNBC host Jim Cramer said Monday, and we're in anything but crisis mode. As recently as October, Kudlow told CNBC there was no end in sight to the hot economic boom. Last July, Kudlow suggested there may not be a recession until maybe 2024. Kudlow had to go through the verbal gymnastics Friday to fit his call for an emergency rate cut within his uber bullish view on the economy. I mean, the economy looks fundamentally quite healthy. We just don't want that threat, Kudlow said. There's no inflation out there, so I think the Fed's actions were probably overdone. Kudlow's comments come days after Stephen Moore, the economist President Trump, has said he will nominate to the Federal Reserve, similarly call for the U.S. Central Bank to immediately slash interest rates. Former Fed officials and economists told CNN Business that such a move would be unwise. The next subtitle, yes, the economy has slowed. Many on Wall Street agree that the Fed moved too aggressively last year to raise borrowing costs. The housing market slowed, auto sales stumbled, and the stock market nearly plunged into a bear market. But the Fed has already done a stunning pivot. Central bank officials went from...
Well, it's doing that now.
Yes,
that's
sir.
happening right now.
Right.
So nothing from nothing leaves nothing. As far as I'm concerned, that's happening right now.
That's right. Central bank officials went from projecting 3 or even 4 rate hikes in 2019, signaling none until 2020 at the earliest. The Fed's sudden 180 helped lift the stock market back near all-time highs. The S&P 500 just completed its best quarter since 2009. Even so, there are good reasons to be cautious about the economy, but not enough to justify a panicked response. The Atlanta Fed's GDP now is projecting first quarter U.S. growth of 1.7%, That would mark a further deceleration from third quarter GDP growth to 3.4% and 2.2% in the fourth quarter. And global bond yields have plunged. The 10-year Treasury rate now stands at 2.48%, down sharply from 3.23% in early November. Futures markets have even begun to price in the likelihood of eventual rate cuts, though not an immediate one. The economy is not that strong, nor is it on the brink of recession, said David Kelly, chief global strategist at J.P. Morgan Funds. It's simply slowing down. Kelly noted that trade tensions caused in large part by Trump's trade war with China are slowing the global economy. Zandy similarly blamed the trade war and threats of auto tariffs for hurting growth. It's largely the result of wrong-headed economic policy, said Zandy. The Trump administration is slowing for a scapegoat, and they found the Fed. Oh, boy. Next subtitle, find blanks. It's also not clear whether the slash in interest rates from these low levels, the Fed target rates is sitting at just 2.25% to 2.5%, would be all that effective. It's already very cheap to borrow, and U.S. companies have piled on record amounts of debt relative to GDP. Boy, sounds like a trap for me. I mean, to me. It says the bigger picture, the Fed must guard against being viewed as acting on the whims of the White House. The Fed's role as an apolitical, independent institution is a pillar of American economy. It would feel and sound like the Fed's just responded to administration pressure, which would undermine confidence in the Fed, said Zandy. The bond market suddenly feared the Feds cared more about politics than inflation. Long-term Treasury rates would rise no matter what the central bank does. That, in turn, would lift borrowing costs on everything from mortgages to business loans. In other words, the emergency rate cut could backfire badly. Does it sound like they're in a catch-22, Mr. Willie?
Without any doubt, my brother. You knocked a home run with that.
Yeah, so that means that's evidence. That's the evidence right there that this rise in the market, that this false report is false.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you said number two. All right. Article number 2. This IPO market is nothing like late 1990s craziness. Let's see. Lyft went public Friday and did reasonably well, despite the fact that the company lost nearly $1 billion last year. It might be tempting to consider the performance as evidence of a bubble forming for startup companies that want to make their debut on Wall Street. Pinterest, Slack, Airbnb, Lyft rival Uber have all signaled an intent to go public this year. But investors need to bone up on their history before declaring that Lyft and some of the other Silicon Valley unicorns set to go public are a sign of market mania. For one, oh boy, let's see. For one, Lyft shares wound up rising less than 10% Friday. That's good, but not phenomenal. The stock pulled back sharply Monday, a sign that investors are already second-guessing the Lyft's $24 billion valuation. Yeah, Mr. Willie, sir, these valuations that they're putting on these IPOs, aren't they false as well?
Yes, they are. Because, first of all, there's no value in them.
Right.
Because it's backed by what?
The
Federal Reserve note and fractional banking.
Right. My goodness. Yeah. Thank you. It says that behavior is stark contrast to how investors acted 20 years ago when much smaller tech startups were all the rage on Wall Street. Next subtitle. IPOs in 1999 were smaller and bleeding red ink. An unprofitable software company named VA Linux or Linux still holds the record for the largest one-day gain for an IPO. Shares skyrocketed nearly 700% on its debut day in December 1999. The value of the company at $1.6 billion, even though VA Linux had annual sales of only $17.8 million. VA Linux inherited the biggest one-day IPO title from the Globe.com web portal that surged more than 600% on its first day of trading in November 1998. So they can jimmy up whatever they want to jimmy up. Huh, Mr. Willie, sir?
That's correct. It still won't do any good.
Thank you. It said that Globe.com soared even though it had reported revenue of $1.2 million in the first half of 1998. Not billion, million. The company also had posted a net loss of $5.8 million. Wow, what a falsity. Curiously, the Globe.com still trades, albeit for less than 4 cents a share. The company is a shell that has no operating assets. As for VA Linux, it went through several name and strategy changes before finally selling its GeekNet retail business to GameStop for $140 million in 2015. How did it get away with that? More than 90% below its peak price just after the IPO. These are just two of Minitech and .com companies from the late 1990s and early 2000s that posted triple-digit percentage gains on their first days of trading. Companies with names like Web Methods, Catchflow, and Crayfish all soared more than 400% when they went public. Next subtitle, no signs of bubble here. The IPO market was so frothy back then that investors were even eager to buy shares of media companies reporting on the frenzy. MarketWatch, now part of the News Corp, popped nearly 475% when it started trading in January 1999. This doesn't feel like the late 1990s to me. You had companies going public that were just delivering pet food. I didn't see any signs of a bubble, said Simon Lack, managing partner at SL Advisors. Lack was referring to Pets.com, which went from an IPO in February 2000 to going out of business by the end of that year. It doesn't even feel like earlier this decade for that matter. Twitter, for example, soared more than 70% when it started trading in late 2013, but shares are still well below the closing price of about $45 from its IPO date. The Snapchat parent Snap rose nearly 45% when it went public more than 2 years ago. The stock is now trading a little north of $11, less than half of what it closed at when it debuted. It's even below its offering price of $17. So the fact that Lyft didn't go bonkers when it began trading might be a good thing. It shows that investors aren't going to fall for unprofitable unicorns just because they have a lot of buzz. Well, doesn't that sound like instead of they have a lot of buzz, a lot of greed, huh, Mr. Willie, sir?
Yeah, and a lot of BS, too.
Yeah, so, plenty of that. You got that right.
Yeah. Pure unadulterated.
Yes, sir. By the way, would you be so kind as to provide the backup numbers for the family members and the new callers, Mr. Willie, sir?
Yes, the following backup number should be used if your phone carrier has been charging you to dial into this conference call, or after you dial into the call, you wonder why your call just drops abruptly. That's because that's your phone carrier that's doing that, because they don't like for you to dial into conference calls, okay? Now, to bypass your phone carrier, please dial the following backup number to get into this call: 206-451-6059. That's 206-451-6059. And please feel free to pass this number on to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willie, sir. And article number 5. EasyJet says Brexit uncertainty is hurting its business. EasyJet has posted a big loss and dialed back its expectations for the European summer season, warning that continued uncertainty over Brexit is driving ticket prices lower. Discount Courier said that while its preparations for the UK-EU divorce were on track, economic uncertainty and confusion over Brexit were reducing demand for flights in the ultra-competitive market. It warned that the weakness would continue in the second half of its financial year to September 30th. Let's see. We are seeing softness in both the UK and Europe, which we believe comes from macroeconomic uncertainty and many unanswered questions surrounding Brexit, which are together driving weaker customer demand, CEO Johan Ludgren said in a statement. Shares in the company dropped over 8% in London. EasyJet said it would post a loss of roughly €275 million, 359 million in our dollars, for the 6 months ending March 31st. Final results for the period will be released on May 17th. Airlines across Europe have been put under pressure by weaker fares, a shortage of pilots, rising fuel costs, and continued uncertainty over Britain's departure from European Union. Last week, Icelandic carrier Wow Air halted operations after failing to secure new investment. Man, this sounds like it's terrible over there, Mr. Willie, sir.
Well, okay, that's where everything is based from.
Yes,
okay?
Sir.
It's over in Europe, including this evil system that we're under. Okay?
Right.
And what they're doing is they're getting ready to crash. That's why they have so many. Right. Mm-hmm.
And so they're going up as high as they can before it starts going down.
Yeah, well,
paint that kind of picture.
They're just trying to delay the inevitable.
Right. That's right. Yes, sir. Again, Brexit pain. That's the next subtitle. It says that EasyJet has established a subsidiary in the European Union to prevent its operations from being disrupted by Brexit. It said Monday that it will be flying as usual, even in the event of disorderly exit. Yet, nearly 3 years after the vote to leave the European Union, businesses still don't know whether Britain will exit the bloc with a deal that protects trade and travel. UK lawmakers will vote Monday on alternatives to Prime Minister Theresa May's divorce deal, which they have rejected 3 times. The exit deadline, delayed once already, is less than 2 weeks away from on April the 12th. The UK government has warned that a disorderly break with the European Union would cause the economy to slump into recession. The Bank of England says the fallout on the United Kingdom from the most disorderly scenario would be worse than the global financial crisis. Mr. Willie, so it sounds like to me they're in real trouble, and it sounds like also that whatever they voting on won't do any good anyway.
Right, exactly right.
They're in a real mess. Wow. Oh, by the way, I see this little thing over here on the side that says Elon Musk tweets out rap song RIP, or Harambe, 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 Harambe.
H-A-R what now?
Harambe, Harambe.
Harabi.
Harabi. Oh, that's what it is? It said Elon Musk tweets out rap song RIP Harabi. That's what it says. Anyway, that's talking about some other news. But I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to share, Mr. Whitson.
Thanks so much, my brother, for bringing that to the family tonight. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next call is our brother and my brother, Brother Rick.
Evening, Brother Willie.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Pretty good. Seems like I just said this not long ago, but how was your weekend?
Fine.
This is
fine.
Zippity-doo-dah, man. The time is just speeding right along here. Wow.
Yes, it is.
April 1st. And that's no April Fool's joke there now. Ooh, I got quite a bit tonight. X-22, RV intelligence alert from Operation Disclosure, weather, and some decodes from Trump, and some spiritual things. So we'll get on with it here. X-22 report, Unplanned. Now that's a movie. You guys heard about it? It's got that woman that worked for Planned Parenthood, Abby Johnson. She was a director or something there. She was in charge of the place. And they didn't have enough hands-on in the back room. They asked her to step in, and what she saw just totally changed her as a person. And they made a movie about it. And X-22 is saying Unplanned is being censored, and social media platforms are pushing their agenda to make sure it doesn't get viewed. Now, what they're doing about that? Here's what Twitter did. They said account suspended for the Unplanned movie on their Twitter account. Account suspended. And everybody else that was following them, 50,000 people that followed them, they were, one person wrote in and said, hey, Twitter, where did the 50,000 followers of Unplanned movie go? The inbox is stacking up with messages saying we unfollowed each other. They're causing these unfollows to happen, Twitter is. And this was on Fox News. And another one wrote in, she said, after 5 minutes ago, I was following Unplanned movie, and then I just checked after seeing so many say that they had trouble even following the account, and somehow I wasn't following them anymore. And it just goes on and on like that. It's happened all weekend. It was yesterday and today. And according to Twitter, they're saying, oh, it must be a mistake or something, accident. We'll check into it or something like that. It's so stupid. It's obvious what they're doing. They don't want the truth out. That's just another one of the things they're doing in this battle. Let's see what else we got here. Judicial Watch is suing to find out if HRC server was sending emails to many countries. Joe Biden's running for president. He's got a problem. Women are starting to come forward. Don't stand a chance. What they call him, Creepy Joe Biden. That's the title he's been dubbed with. Let's see here. Oh, Trump is removing the sanctions on North Korea because people are stubborn. That's new. There's a lot of things that have happened. We'll cover them all here. Let's see. On the economy side, the central bank credit economy is getting worse and worse by the day. More and more people are finding it hard to make ends meet, and they're using their credit card now to pay for rent and utilities. That's pretty bad, Brother Willie.
Yes, it is.
The White House is calling on the Fed to lower interest rates, right on schedule. It's in the plan. More and more countries are dropping the central bank currency. The deep state central bank plan is to attach the Trump administration to the economy, then bring it down and blame it on Trump. Problem is, the patriots are in control. And how are they doing that? Well, the Russians have gone over to the CIPS system, and that is the cross-border interbank payment system, otherwise known as the Chinese interbank payment system, interbank payment system. It's replacing the SWIFT, which is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. Now that's the difference between the two is that the new SIPS would not facilitate funds transfers. Rather, it sends payment orders, which must be settled by correspondent accounts that the institutions have with each other. There's no room for this is transparency, see. And
part of the QFS, the quantum financial system.
Yeah, part of the new system, right. It's part of the working mechanisms of the quantum financial system for trade and such. The European Union is trying to get another referendum. They're trying to get the people to say they do not want the Brexit, and the people do want the Brexit. Now remember, April 12th. That's when this thing's supposed to, like Brother Ronald was mentioning there, it's not a mess. What this is the plan being played out. There's always, when there's a move made by the deep state, there's a counter move or two or three by the alliance. Depending on which way they go, the alliance has a counter move. It's a very strategic war. Whew. Man, my head would hurt if I was in on that planning committee. All these posts and these Freemasonry code and all these things, we'll get into some of that in a little bit. But, this is some brains in this thing. Wow. Strategic warfare brains. And this is a hell of a war. Exactly. Good and evil. That's what this is. This is the war, the one everybody has prophesied about. This isn't Armageddon. That's a makeshift thing that you'll find in Revelations or somewhere like that. I'm not against the Bible by no means. It's a guide, but they sure have screwed it up. Harvey Intelligence Alert for today, March 30th. No, this was yesterday's. I want to read yesterday's and today, but they're both important. Major events are on the horizon as April approaches. Yeah, we're in it now. The Earth Alliance is now on the offensive. Trump will soon declassify the FISA applications, which is the D class, which will take down the deep state. Trump's recent executive order to prepare an EMP attack was a preemptive move to protect the country from possible cabal deep state retaliation once D class begins. That executive order was put into play last Tuesday. And let me see if I got something on that. Here it is. President Trump issued an executive order on Tuesday, this is out of Breitbart, directing the federal government to prepare a coordinated response plan in the event of an electromagnetic pulse attack, an EMP. The order described the enormous damage such an attack could cause and noted the U.S. government currently lacks a coherent plan of action for responding to one. And it's a good thing he did that, because as this transition happens, that's what they would attempt. And remember, he was talking about the wall. That's all part of this. 5G, 6G, and this electromagnetic pulse attack, all that's tied into that wall. Protection. Let's see, where were we? Back here. Brexit was rejected on the 29th, and now Theresa May has until April 12th to seek a longer extension. Now the EU,
which she won't get, which she will not get.
She won't get it. She won't get it. No, they'll step in. The alliance will step in and crash the European Union. Now the European Union will soon face total collapse. In result, as Xi Jinping of China warned behind closed doors during his visit to Europe. He already gave him heads up. Basel IV banking requirement is about to become a reality, which will return gold standard currencies to all countries. Let me explain that real quick. Basel III rules increase the amount of capital. That's what they're under now. You see, they were Basel III until, I think, the 29th of March. Basel III's rules increase the amount of capital that banks must hold and set a core Tier 1 capital ratio of 6%. The technical implementation deadline for Basel III is 2019, you see. But recent developments in the banking market have suggested that even stricter rules may be applied by a later framework, which has been dubbed Basel IV.
Right.
So
we knew about Basel IV about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. Well, about 4 years ago. Yeah.
So it says on the RV Intelligence Alert, Basel IV is about to become a reality, which will return gold standard currencies to all countries. And we know on the 29th they hitched the gold, physical gold, to Basel III banking requirements. Now it's going to shift now to Basel IV. This is part of the transition to the quantum financial system, QFS. The global economy is being set up for the RV. It's obvious, people. Sources still expect the RV to occur by April. It says by April. We're in April. Unless they meant by the end of April. April looks real good.
April's the final phase.
Yeah. March 31st, alert here. RV Intelligence Alert. The pressure is building up on the deep state cabal. The lid is about to be blown wide open. Mueller's report is expected to be fully released by mid-April. Trump is expected to release the FISA applications in April. Whew, that's 2 of them. UK Prime Minister Theresa May was given until April 12th to seek an extension for Brexit, and she won't get it, like you said. Instead, they'll crash the system. Zimbabwe's bond notes are set to expire by mid-April. Therefore, the RV must begin prior. Not quite sure what they mean by that.
The bond notes that's being controlled under this evil existing system, which is fractional banking, and the Federal Reserve.
Got nothing to do with what we're holding, though.
No, nothing to do with that at all.
Right.
In other words, they're going to be let go of this evil system. Okay.
Right.
And initiate into the QFS. Okay. And Basel IV.
Yeah. Clean slate, level playing field. The Earth Alliance is aiming for April to be the target month for major happenings. That's the RV Intelligence Alert for yesterday and today. On the notable resignation list, Algerian government president resigned. Interesting. It's happening everywhere. I'm going to skip over the rest. This is a lot of people every day on this thing from all walks of the corporate world. All getting cleaned up. The Algeria's president, it says he'll resign before his 4th term expires on April 28th. He is 82 years old. He's in the office almost 20 years. Rarely seen in public since he had a stroke in 2013. He's a puppet. That's all he's been, a puppet, a person in position so they can run things through. Just like all these other actors and puppets, you know. Was there Alexander Cortez, whatever her name is? She went to acting school and got hired from that for her congressperson job. Yeah, it's a fact. Look it up. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let me go the other way now. Got some decodes coming up here shortly. But first we're going to talk about a crisis. Yes, there's a crisis. And it's at the border. And it's big. It's getting bigger. The first 4 months of fiscal year 2019, which is October, November, December, and January, 136,150 people were apprehended. 12,000 plus migrants in custody this week. 12,000. And there definitely is a crisis. Their estimate right now is It's 1,000 plus a day in the Rio Valley sector.
Rio Grande?
Somewhere
Rio
down there on
Grande?
the border.
Rio Grande? Uh-huh.
Yep. Or the whole Rio Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Okay.
1,000 plus a day. They're expecting 100,000, a record. Now, on Fox News, this gentleman coming over there from the Obama, he's Secretary of the Homeland, Department of Homeland Security, Secretary, Obama's secretary. He said, we are truly in a crisis at the border. He said that 12,000 day one was 6,000, in custody a week, this week, 12,000 plus. He said 6,000 was a crisis for us. This is 12,000, double the crisis. So you got the deep state admitting it, the deep state players, owning up to this, that there is definitely a crisis. Let's see here. Oh, boy. On Hannity, he's reporting that MSNBC's Rachel Maddow loses 500,000 viewers after the implosion of the collusion conspiracy, because that's all she said it was a conspiracy. Now nobody's watching her. They're going to shut them down. I mean, they're shutting themselves down. MSNBC, CNN, all these people. Fox is gaining viewers, and the other ones are losing. Isn't that interesting? Serial Brain 2 came out with something, a new video, a Serial, SERIALBRAIN 2, the number 2. If you guys want to look it up. This was about FISA-gate, saying it was the Rothschilds. And between the Q posts and the Trump tweets and the Freemasonry code and all this unraveling, you guys can look it up, do your research. It's real. You can't make this stuff up. You take those tweets and timestamps and this, and cross to that, and you come up with this. Absolutely. This is brilliant. One of the decoders' message says, from POTUS, since the day they created the State of Israel, the Rothschild cabal has engineered its weakness and economic independence for control. Using the classic divide and conquer strategy, while legally assisting the State of Israel through Congress, they covertly pay a few local political operators to oppose them and maintain the region in constant instability. Just like the Golan Heights, the U.S. Embassy in Israel was not under U.S. sovereignty. It was bugged and spied on by the deep state, like the Trump Tower. When I decided to move it, they came with a bill over $1 billion, hoping I would fall into the trap of opening the door to multiple contractors that the deep state would have used to also bug the new embassy. Well, no. I did it for far less and had full control over the process. The U.S. has now a sovereign and secured embassy in Israel. Fact, people. Then in some of these messages and codes, this number Y kept popping up, the letter Y. And the decoded message says the Y is code for the war against family Y. Family Y, which represents the three sides of the Y of the Rothschilds, Illuminati power, and wealth triangle. He goes on and talks about the Middle East decode, the heat in the Middle East and in the world in general is maintained and financed by the cabal so that the chaos covers all their illegal activities, child sacrifice, human trafficking, organ trafficking, drugs, weapons, etc. I'm taking their heat because I decided to fight back and rebuild America. And he talks about more about these Illuminati bloodlines in the decoded message. If the ancient satanic Illuminati bloodlines are on earth perpetrating what they perpetrate, it should be known the ancient divinely blessed bloodlines of Judah are also among us, fighting them. I will declass and unseal. They will be exposed. Brother, he's laying it out there. And then another one here. The March 10th 60 Minutes was an opportunity for current chair of the Fed, Jerome Powell, to distance himself from Trump's economic policy, essentially based on fluidity and very low interest rates. By sitting next to his two predecessors, who was it, Janet Yellen and Powell, and there's one other, echoing them and even acting as if he was still Bernanke's employee. He showed his limits and his allegiance to the cabal. He actually did that, man. He looked like one of them. It sounded like one of them. He exposed himself. It was time to send Stephen Moore to the board and to acknowledge the war with the Fed and their owners reached a tipping point. Q planned. Now, he did. He threw in there, first he references this post, Q2575, the plan to have the Fed raise rates, steep incline beginning on March 2019, in an effort to kill the economy prior to 2020 presidential election, is known and planned for. Structure change coming, question mark, Q. And that's why they threw this man in there, Stephen Moore. He's the new Fed chair. It says he's a soldier, a game changer, appointed to keep the Fed in check and to make sure the interest rate policy follows the president's macroeconomic objectives. And now he's got another decode here. A lot of decodes, man. The deep state activates its infiltrated assets in the administration to spy and use their powers to sabotage the president's agenda. These people are stupid. We have it all. He goes on to say, the intelligence community wants the key to the kingdom. They send to the political arena their agents who pose as former officers, when in reality they are still active. The Rothschild cabal now wants to rule the world, not only with political puppets, but with their own, with their own spies. And then it says, we know, we have it all. And now, they referenced in these decodes a post from June 15th last year, Q post 1515. And it says here, and this is a list of 91 reporters and networks here. 91 have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the Democratic National Convention or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle. Whew. Wow. Everybody's on here. ABC, NBC, Bloomberg, CNN, CBS, Daily Beast, Huffington Post, MSNBC. Oh, man. This is going on and on here. New York Times, NPR, New Yorker, Politico. Everybody but Fox. Wall Street Journal. They're all on here. Yahoo. And they're exposed. All the names are here. Every one of them. Gayle King on CBS. She's on here.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Oprah's girlfriend.
Yeah. And Rachel Maddox, she's on here. They're all on this list. And what's the bridge between the media? It's the Podesta Group. FBI, DOJ, HRC, all of these people. It's all tied into that. Now, for the big decoded message. For decades, this is from the president, the Rothschild cabal, and this is a decoded message from the president. For decades, the Rothschild cabal and its affiliated Illuminati bloodlines have plotted from the shadows to maintain humans in a permanent state of control and misery. Inspired by the ancient practice of the Vatican, when they aggregated data from confessions to later blackmailing people and increasing their political power, the Rothschild cabal is using its international network of political assets and rogue spies lurking in government and intelligence agencies to help them further their agenda. This model has worked so well, not only do they now create money out of thin air and enslave the entire planet through bogus interest rate policies, but they also create states and give them names we cherish and locations we revere to cover their tracks and spread confusion. Since the Rothschild cabal has created the State of Israel, nothing has been done to truly pacify the Middle East. On the contrary, using the aid from U.S. Congress to maintain Israel in a constant state of dependency and covertly financing its enemies, the Rothschild cabal has successfully kept the region in a permanent state of chaos and disarray. This is what they needed there and in other places to cover and fuel the main activity required by their satanic religion, child sacrifice, cannibalism, and human trafficking. We are at war, an ancient war. Do you remember when David defeated Goliath? And then he references Q post 133. Triangle has three sides. We talked about that, the Y family. Eye of providence. Follow the bloodlines. And then Trump continues in the decode. If these ancient satanic bloodlines are still around, wouldn't it be conceivable that the ancient, divinely blessed bloodlines would also be present? And he references Q post 328. Light will defeat darkness. It continues, it is now established that they have been spying on me long before the election. Why do they try to stop me? What do they know? My mission is to rebuild the America they destroyed and that the Founding Fathers envisioned. I'm not rebuilding anything else. America is the greatest place on earth, and they will not distract me. Using their old playbook, hoping I and my family would crack under the pressure, they started the Mueller probe with its fake news accompanying drums. To show them I will never be their puppet, I responded by attacking one of their main operations centers by reshaping America's relation with Saudi Arabia that resulted exactly 170 days later with the most tremendous political purge in the kingdom's history. References Q Post 134. House of Saudi, U.S. control. One side of the triangle removed. First time in history, other sides falling. He continues, do you see this other sides falling? Question mark. I'm coming for you. Your former power triangle is now a line and will soon become a single piece. When that happens, just like in a past you know very well, it will be crushed and dispersed in the Red Sea. In the meantime, know that all the puppets you used in the government and the intelligence community to conduct a coup d'etat will be brought to justice and held accountable. From the highest office of the land to the smallest public servant, they will all pay. This was the biggest political scandal in our modern history, and I will not allow it to ever happen to our country again. I'm also aware of the assets you still have in the government, at the Federal Reserve, and in politics, and how they were instructed to sabotage my work. In references, Q Post 636, predictable. We see all, we hear all. And he continues, that's fine. You want to keep playing? Let's play. That's a load with one more Q Post. You are witnessing, 1690, you are witnessing /watching the systematic destruction of the old guard. Power will return to the people. Q. That's the decodes and the updates from the battlefield. You still there?
Right here.
I thought, okay. I was hoping you were there. I was hoping that all wasn't a waste. That'd be a lot to repeat, man. Wow. Now let's move on to the weather. The Secretary of Agriculture is now saying there might be as many as 1 million calves, that's baby cattle, lost in the flooding in Nebraska. 1 million. And the National Weather Service is saying there will be more catastrophic flooding for the middle of the country for the next 2 months. Right now, 74 counties out of the 93 total counties in Nebraska have declared a state of emergency. There's sunk, brother. Can't wait to hear from Brother Chad. He's got to pipe in sooner or later. 74 out of 93, he could very well be one of them, you know. They're flooded. And NOAA warns of historic flooding through May, 200 million at risk, and food prices are going to skyrocket. It says here, this came off of DHH BOO77 YouTube channel, published on March 23rd. He says, we have never seen catastrophic flooding like this, and NOAA is now telling us there will be more major flooding for at least 2 more months. And 90% of the upper Midwest and Great Plains is currently covered by an average of 10.7 inches of snow, and all of that snow is starting to melt on top of the rain, you know. At this moment, millions of acres of farmland are already underwater. Thousands of farmers are not going to be able to plant crops this year, and thousands of other farmers that have been financially ruined by the floods will never return to farming again. This is already the worst agriculture disaster in modern American history, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. So it's time to prepare people. Thank goodness this transition is at our doorstep. That's what's going to help save humanity. They have the technology to grow all of this stuff indoors now. And healthy too. There's ways to do these things now without having to rely on the weather.
Or any type of harmful chemicals.
Mm-hmm. And the sovereignty and the freedom will set forth these things that have had frozen patents on, you know. We're all gonna help each other, and much faster than the government could ever help us. Once the government's freed of the enslavement that they're in. It's the same thing. They've got our government, they got us. It's all been under their control, the Y family. Northern Maine's already had 12 feet of snow. It's off the Oppenheimer Ranch project. Maybe 6 more inches in St. Lawrence County tonight. This is just out today. The entire sky lights up as fireball flashes over Florida Saturday night. I missed that one, but I caught the last two. Many in Congo do not believe Ebola virus is real. They've been misinformed, that's all, same as everybody else. We got more storms coming, severe thunderstorms possible midweek. Coastal storm will bring heavy rain to the Carolinas. Sister E, Brother Bob. Tonight and tomorrow, while a Pacific storm will impact parts of the West Coast with heavy precipitation through Tuesday. This latter storm system will move quickly east, bringing the chances for severe thunderstorms and local heavy rainfall to the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley on Wednesday and Thursday, like the Mississippi needs more water. Missouri and Mississippi are flooding, everybody. So is our country, the middle of it. This is all part of the transition going, pole shift. The sun's transitioning into a magnetic sun. The earth is changing. The weather, the what's the word I'm looking for? These plasma waves, energy waves, that we monitor on the Schumann resonance chart affects the electromagnetic field of the earth. And boy, it's still going every day. The last 24 hours, it's been on various peaks within a 6-hour period, the highest one reaching 26. But that's off of 7.8, coming off 7.8, the baseline, which it never did before January 31st, 2017. This is all part of the Great Awakening, part of the transition, part of the changes. And it's the change from going from 3D reality of duality, competition and fear, chaos and drama, and all that mess, over to unity, love. So you're going from fear to love, basically it. From duality to unity. It's the same thing. You got to have love to be in unity. So, again, we're going from, you can only be in one of the 2 states of mind, fear or love. You pick which one you want to be in. Now, it's easy to get sucked up in someone else's fear, especially the chaos and the drama and all that stuff. It's hard to pull away from it if you're under the same roof. I understand that. You have to find balance in that and grounding and find your little what do you call solitude, your little what's the word I'm looking for? Sanctuary. Little place. This is spiritual times. This is battle. Michael Love writes in, and he got a. This is what he says. We are the. He brings in the Palladian transmissions. It says here, we are the great star children of Earth. Now you've heard of star seeds, everybody. From star seeds, our light workers. We've been here before. We let's see. Time is not linear. We have come back to this dimension, lowered ourselves into the dimensions to help save this and pull it forward. That's my understanding. It says here, we are the indigos, the rainbow crystal children, and the children of the sun. We are the travelers, the seekers, the mystics and sages. We are the wise ones of old. Now we're talking about us light workers now, okay? We are the teachers, the guides, the helpers, the lovers, and creators. We're the angels, the cosmic warriors of light, and we are the healers of worlds. We are builders, you hear that, of worlds. We've been around, y'all. We are builders and workers and the servants to all. We are moms and dads, and we are daughters and sons to humanity. We are musicians and artists and business owners all around the world. We are all people, light workers. That's what this is saying. We are embedded everywhere. We've been poor, but we are rich. We are country, and we fill the cities of planet Earth. We are simple and natural, but we are complex and advanced. We are different, but we are normal. This all reminds me of Brother Roundabout. He fits every bit of this, man. He's a light worker, and he's every bit of this, like many of us. We are different, but we are normal. We fly through the heavens, but keep our feet on the ground. We are the strong, because we're in 3D. We are the strongest beings in the universe, and we are proud. We've been knocked down, but we can't be beat. We do not give up. We shall not lose. We are faithful, and we stand in honor, noble in all our ways. We have overcome the whole world, and we have fought the good fight to the end. This is what we do, and only we can do it. We came here to create a better world for all, and we shall succeed. We came to the earth to assist against all odds. We came to feed and take care of every child. We came to give those in need. We came to set all prisoners free. We came to heal all broken hearts. We are the great family of light, spoken of old. We are all here with you on earth, and we will stand beside you until all things are fulfilled. We are the rebels and the renegades and the bringers of a new day. We are honored to be with you and in your great time in human history. We came to walk you across the great rainbow bridge into your beautiful home of heaven on a new earth. That would be 5D reality. Thank you for all you are doing. Godspeed, Michael and the Palladians. Brother, I don't know how to top that. We all fit that description that are stay tuned to this call and have a higher calling. We are here as healers, like you said, as transition guides. This is the time. This is it. This is the one. This is the one the eons have spoke of in prophecies. The big war, the big one. And get that Armageddon stuff out of your head in the one world government. That's not happening. Even William Mount's kind of caught up on that end of it, and I'm kind of disappointed at his ways there. His low 3D thinking. This is not a one world religion because the Pope made some changes. What he did was he got rid of he didn't want to include that satanic other religion into this religion. You know, he wanted to make a common religion for people that focused on God, which, in fact, would be the Father Beginnings, who they disguised to us as a Lord G God with a capital G there in place of his.
Right.
Anyway,
and then one of the back doors with Satanism.
Right. Well, this is all changing. We are right in the middle of this war. In fact, we are at the apex of it when, how you say, all hell might break loose. Because they're going to try to be fighting back, just like with this Unplanned movie. That's one way of many ways they are trying to stop information flow. They may interrupt our YouTube again or some other things, you know. This is when things pick up. And just be assured, rest assured, those things are only temporary. This war, I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out when you walk into that dark room and flip on the light switch, the darkness comes to light, and then it disappears. It happens all the time like that. There's no way to change it. Everybody's waking up. Everybody. The whole world's waking up. Look around you. They're all protesting. They all want their freedom. Yeah, it ain't just us. It's everywhere. But the United States military, and their appointed Donald Trump, who is the mouthpiece for the military intelligence, that's what he is, they're setting the record straight and undoing wrongs and setting them right. And this stuff's going on behind their back. You don't hear much about it on news. All this weather's being underreported as well. Same as with new executive orders. None of this stuff's being reported. It's really small if it's on there at all. And we have to tell each other. We have to keep up with this. And the only way to do it is listen to Willie's Truth Call. You'll get it right here before Sean Hannity comes out with it the next day. Talk radio. Anyway, brother, let me step aside. I know you got a lot of callers this Monday night, and we'd love to hear from everybody. All new callers, too. Man, we had some good ones the other day. I really like people say they listened 6 months and they finally spoke. That's great. That's great. Need more of that. All right, brother.
Rick, once again, you knocked a home run, my brother. Thank you so much.
I was hoping you said that because you gave Brother Ronald one, and then I was feeling left out. I'm glad you said that.
I'm glad. Thank you so much, Rick.
All right, brother.
Okay. Next caller is 910. Hello there, Sister Ford.
Oh, you know what? Brother Willie, how you doing?
Fine.
Okay. I hope the family had a grand weekend and they are ready to start back. Rick Rose, not Rick. Well, Rick. Yeah, that's it. Brother Ron, too, because I don't want to leave anyone out. Brought some very good information out tonight. I had something else I was going to bring, but I changed my mind because I'm a little bit doing something else. And I have something about K. Raya, fire of passion, higher rose, trump, and galactic. And I'm going to bring this in tomorrow. I'm going to bring the other in. The future is now moving forward together. And that's true. Greetings from heart to heart in this moment we speak. I am K-Raya K-Rai. The information expressed here is that of my perspective, my point of view. For all truth awaits you in your heart. Tune in to the light within you. So much has changed in my reality, within the world, within and without. And the changes continue. However, the fire of passion that burns within to bring in changes to the world has only grown stronger. And perhaps this is one of the reasons why I still find myself in disagreement with, yes, the President of America, the Galactic Federation of Light, and how they have chosen to go about this process. And quite frankly, anyone that insists on negotiating with the cabal and offering them alternatives and other negative entities outside of Earth that wants nothing less than total ownership and enslavement of Earth and humanity. The negative ones have lost. That is clear and obvious. Yet somehow with their little power that remains, in a way they are holding humanity hostage, and this must not be tolerated. Those that support any form of negotiation with the cabal support and contribute to holding humanity hostage and impede this evolutionary process. Now, going back to the president, there are a few things I disagree with that he is doing, but mostly I disagree with what he is not doing. Does that make sense? Perhaps it was entirely up to him. He would dissolve all cabals within a matter of days, or would he? But I think he too answers to someone else. With that being said, there are three main things that the president should be mentoring in every speech he makes, and gives people hints, and giving people hints. Number 1, 9/11. 2, the Federal Reserve, IRS. 3, J.F. Kennedy. And for the matter of months leading up to the complete exposure of the cabal's plot that has been in the work for millennium. It is time now more than ever to put the cabals on blast and to rest. It is time for America and the world to know the truth. No more stalling, no more stroking those who cannot handle the truth. It is time to become more involved in this process. For those that are aware of the change occurring in our world, we must step into the new and higher roles. The galactic assisting humanity now can do what you wish, what they wish to do from where they are at. Hopefully they change their mind on their decision about gradual disclosure and on assisting us from their ships. While we humans on Earth must do what we must do from where we are at. If we wish to see real changes, we cannot allow this process to stagnate because of a few ill-intent entities or become once again about money. GCR/RV. Power of control over others. This is about the total freedom of humanity on Earth. There's time for stillness, and there's time for action. We must find a balance between the two. For love without action is like a rose that does not blossom. The light has indeed prevailed. Now it's time for humanity to step forward and do its part. This way we begin restoring our world to its natural state. From heart to heart, I am K-Raya. Brother Willie, what do you think of his article?
He's always told the truth. I've read K-Rye for several years now, and he's speaking spiritual truth.
Right. Okay.
There's a difference. Okay, some people speak truth, but to make it valid and even stronger, when you're speaking from the spiritual realm,
right.
Okay, that makes it a lot stronger and honest.
Yeah, I like him too. That's why I read it. Okay, well, tonight that's all I have, and I do have something else, but that's all I have. And that lists the names, Brother Willie. Ooh, there's a lot of names on there.
Yeah, it is.
And some of them I know, but I'm going to mention, I didn't know Whoopi Goldberg was one. I sure didn't. But you know she
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I could tell you that a long time ago.
The rest of them I knew, but I didn't know she was. I thought,
Yeah.
But she was sick.
Steve Harvey.
Right. But I listened to it, but I was doing something else, too.
Yeah.
However, Whoopi was sick. She'd been sick for about a month. So I reckon it had to do, I don't know what it was, I guess flu or something. And she had not been on The View, but she's supposed to be coming back. But now I don't know if she's going to be coming back or not. And I wonder, did she get sick to try to keep herself not going there or what? But it's too late now.
Yeah, that's right.
A whole lot of them on there, I'm telling you. This does not make any sense at all. And they certainly did not use their power.
No, they sold out. They made a choice.
Right.
Of selling out in order to get fame and to maintain their fame.
Right.
And power.
And they sure enough got, can't think of the name right offhand. The one that's a billionaire, they got her. I was hoping they would get her because she been nasty for a long time. Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oprah been nasty for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the people down south here are delighted they got her because they did not care for that woman. Not in her.
Yeah.
And that I know. Okay, I'm going to get off the phone so someone else can come on. And
thank you, Sister Ford.
Right.
Thanks, Sister Ford.
You're quite welcome.
Next call is 323.
Brother Willie, how you doing?
All right, my brother, how you doing?
I'm good. Let me see. Once again, I didn't think I was going to get on. Let me get my questions. Okay. I want to talk about today. I had read something saw something on the YouTube today, and it gave a report that the ZIM had revalued, but it was speaking about the currency. It didn't speak about the actual ZIM bond notes that we're, of course, that we're have invested in. Did you see a similar report of that today?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, can you? Is it possible if you can expound on that, and was that any relevant impact at all, or were we trying to our exchange? Is there anything you can speak on about that?
No. What it is, okay, it revalued under this existing system, preparing itself for the QFS, which is the quantum financial system.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
But the payouts and the exchanges won't happen until after we come under Nasara and Gassara and the gold standard and the QFS.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And
so, in other words, they're breaking away from this evil system. Okay?
Okay, so definitely a good sign that we're moving.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I had been listening to, so you get a lot of good intel, and you had always just kept telling listeners you have to wait until this fractional, the fiat bank fractional reserve system what do you call it, the fractional banking system. Until that's done away with, you know, don't even bother trying to exchange because we have to wait for that first, correct?
Correct.
We have to wait for that.
And I've been telling all the gurus that for a number of years.
Okay.
Not just recently. I've been telling this for a number of years, and they still out here feeding the people a lot of this bogus stuff and lies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told them, I said it will not happen until we go under the gold standard.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And like I say, they really need to stop that because it's not right to lead people on like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in order to hold on to numbers.
Okay, absolutely. And also, I've been seeing some news, some intel regarding how the banks in this current situation are acquiring a lot of gold. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about that? What's going on with that? Okay.
Well, the banks have had gold in them for quite a while now, but they're purchasing more gold, preparing for the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this gold is being held in depositories.
Okay. Right.
Okay. And the paper money, the U.S. Treasury bill that's getting ready to be released, will be attached to these gold depositories. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what the banks are doing, and if I'm not mistaken, to the last year they've doubled their amount of investment as far as acquiring gold. They're preparing for what they're doing. Is they're preparing for the transition?
Yes, they're already ready.
Okay, so they're ready. So the banks are. I've been seeing different reports that they're going to some training. They're getting prepared for it. So the banks are ready. I mean, they're on board. They know what's coming.
Yes, they do. Oh. They've already been trained.
Okay.
All employees have already been trained. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, like regarding for Zim investors, when the RV occurs and where the announcement's made and we're ready to go in, are we required to come in with projects as far as what I'm asking?
No.
Is that
no?
Okay.
No, you won't have a time limit on you can take your time, and have your business plan together for your investment banker, okay, or wealth manager, whatever you want to call them,
right?
Okay. And then they're going to make certain that you succeed.
Okay. Right. So there won't be any, as far as, come in and have our advisors there. They'll give us time to, to plan our projects and
right.
Okay. I know I don't want to sound like a dumb question, but were there any zeros taken off?
My brother, I don't see any more than 2 or 3 zeros being removed.
Okay.
But what I was told, it wouldn't be any zeros removed.
Okay.
Well, a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a possibility that maybe there's a couple, maybe 2 or 3 zeros taken off. It really doesn't. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. So and just to recap. What we're seeing is these floating currency rates. This is all connected to the fractional banking, right? This
right.
This
right.
So
don't waste your time. Don't waste your time paying attention to that.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
At all because it won't exist once the announcements are made.
Okay. Great. And I have another inquiry about you've previously talked about staying away from investing in the stock market, because it's manipulated. We have these manipulation devices in place, can you talk a little bit about the Forex market? Is that the same boat? Like, because I had experience in trading the Forex, dealing with currencies and stuff like that. Should I stay away from that, or would that be?
Yes, you need to stay away from it until we come under a lawful banking system.
Okay, stay away from Forex as well.
And the lawful banking system is a gold standard.
Exactly. Okay. Definitely. Now let's see here. Okay, Brother Willie, can you talk a little bit about the Basel III regulation that just came into play recently?
No, Basel III has been in for quite a while. And see, we knew years ago, we knew about Basel III and Basel IV. Okay,
and
about
go ahead.
About 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago. But anyway, we knew about it then, and we knew the final stage was going to be Basel IV.
Right. I was just getting ready to mention about Basel IV. Yeah. So Basel IV is what we're looking toward, correct?
Right, which is leading to the quantum financial system.
QFS. Exactly. Now, talk a little bit more, because you've spoken about how the blockchain will be beneficial for us, as far as how Bitcoin will be, the price of it now is pretty at a low price, but it's going to be, increasing in the price. Is that still the case? Will blockchain be beneficial to the people? Once we come under Basel IV and the QFS banking system and the gold standard, the blockchain, not just the blockchain technology, but blockchain technology is a security feature of the digital currency. Okay, like Bitcoin. Okay. All right, it's going to be huge. Okay. I mean, huge. So it's going to be a safe, where the people can use the cryptocurrency for the benefit, and there won't be any problems. Because I've been hearing different, perspectives of how people are saying that the blockchain was brought about by the other side, whatever deep state, whatever we call it, and that I've heard a report today by a so-called financial expert. I think her name was Lynette Zhang, I believe her name is. And she kind of, she didn't completely discredit the blockchain, but she was like, her belief was that, the elites, the top 1%, whatever you want to call it, is using a mechanism. They're not. The blockchain. They're not. Now, what they did, they want to initiate their own form of blockchain technology. Okay, but that's not going to be allowed. Okay, so and the reason why they want to initiate is that they want to monopolize the cryptocurrency world, but we're no longer under that type of reign or regime again, and they will no longer be allowed to do that. Okay. So that they initially was trying to attempt to do some things using the blockchain, but they got stopped. Yeah. Well, their own form of blockchain. But see, the true blockchain technology can't be cracked. Okay, it can't be hacked. Right. You spoke about that. And I have my memory when it was a call, in a previous call, you had touched on that, and to reiterate the point, the blockchain that was put in place. What was the creator of it? It was a Japanese name. Japanese gentleman, right? Okay, so those that when that was put in play, Okay, so that's going to be a beneficial thing for the people worldwide.
Correct.
Okay.
And I can tell you right now that the blockchain technology is so powerful, it's going to be a part of the QFS.
Wow. So it's going to be interlocked with the QFS. Okay, great. And I also, today, Brother Willie, I was listening to a channel, and I've been listening to it because I listen to a lot of different platforms just to sit in on it. And this particular channel is the Positive Side of 2012. Are you familiar with that? Have you listened to them?
I haven't heard about that. No.
Okay, yeah, because for me, they don't sound like they're doing things that's positive for humanity, but they have a group that's it's called the 18. Okay, and it's a sister. Her name, she goes by Mother Divinity, just Mother, and they don't pretty much put too many YouTube videos like you do as far as your calls every day. They do like maybe once.
Hold on, my brother, for a second. Hold on for a second,
yes,
my brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, my brother.
Okay, yes, sir. So I was talking about this channel on YouTube called Positive Side 2012, and the group is called the 18, and they don't put out too many videos as much as the True Call, but they this recent one, and I've been listening to it. They are they're working with the Galactics. They say that they're on the front line going against.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there.
Yes, sir.
See, True Galactics wouldn't have made a statement like that. By bragging being on the front line.
I mean that's my term now. Yeah, when they record a call, they're like in a session and they're going through actual what they call missions, and they're just they say that they've taken out the other side, the bad guys. They say that they've taken out the whole sex trafficking enterprise that the deep state is a part of, and they're claiming that they
and they're saying that they're a part of it.
Yes, they're like.
Okay, now, if they were truly a part of it, they wouldn't be talking about it or bragging about it. Okay, but it doesn't make any difference because for them trying to get attention drawn to themselves, they're still not the final factor in anything.
Okay.
But they're still treading on. Sometimes they treading on very dangerous ground with our Creator and our galactic brothers and sisters. Okay, but anyway, they're not the final factor in anything.
Okay. So I'm just sharing with. I just want to just relate to the family. This is what I'm sure some people on the call have probably been familiar with these channels and listening in, or what what they say they're doing.
Right.
I'm just reporting it back to the family.
And I appreciate that, my brother. Because, see, we need to know.
Yes.
We need to know what's out there. We need to know what's out there. And I appreciate you bringing that.
No problem. So I just, I had heard that today, and I was like, hey, if I can get on the call with Willie, Brother Willie, I'm going to tell him what they claim they've accomplished and how they, they claim to be in the driver's seat of the war, the battle for humanity and whatnot. So, I just want to share that with the family. And, okay, now I want to go back onto the exchange platform, and I'm going to wrap it up. I remember a while ago you were talking with a caller, and you had I think the caller had said that Warren Buffett was buying up all the currencies, and he was going to be in the driver's seat ready to exchange. And then you had said that no, Warren Buffett would not be allowed to exchange. Can you expound on that a little bit?
No. So you got to remember now, Warren Buffett is don't let that little mild, meek-looking old man fool you. Okay, he's part of the New World Order and the Illuminati and the Deep State.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Now, if you're gonna let somebody like him, or the Bushes, or the Rothschilds, or the Rockefellers, or any of them re-empower themselves after the Siren Gassara is announced, then what's the point of having the Siren Gassara?
If you won't control that, yes.
Right. So what you're doing is, why change anything?
Right.
Okay.
If you're gonna let them get it, get first in line.
Correct. But see, it's gonna be a transference of the wealth that's taking place, and actually it's really taking place now, and we're very, very close to the announcements being made, where
yes, sir.
the first will become last, and we're talking about the 1% in the New World Order and Illuminati and the Deep State, okay? And they're going to transfer the wealth to the to just the average people, okay? All right, and empower us, okay?
Yes, sir.
And then at the same time they do that, they're going to be completely removing from the system these evil ones, okay? That's been in control of everything, both economically and politically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as far as the 1% that we're talking about, the billionaires and all these, the families we're speaking of, the Buffetts and the Bushes and Clinton, is there any, as far as like that 1%, is there anybody that still like has a soul? I mean,
yes, there are.
Some?
Yeah, there are some people out there that really truly have souls, and that are good people. Okay? And these people will be stepping to the forefront after announcements are made, and some of them you won't even know.
Right.
So some of them you will know. Okay, but then there's some that you won't even know, that you won't even recognize or even know the names.
Right. Absolutely. And one more thing before I don't want to hold up the call, but the Hollywood, the entertainment industry, these these famous celebrities and these producers and all this, the industry as a whole, as far as that will be cleaned up?
Yes. Matter of fact, it's being cleaned up right now behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
But it's going to be completely cleaned up. My brother got to move on to the next caller. Thank you so much, my brother. Excellent question,
Brother Willie.
brother. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Willie. Okay. All right.
Next call is 209.
Hi, Willie. How are you?
Hello.
This is Deborah from California.
Hey, Deb.
Hey, how are you?
All right.
All right. Well, I hope everybody had a good weekend, and there were some really good, sounds like some really good things are starting to happen for us here real soon.
Yes.
Okay, well, I have the Fulford Report. Let me go ahead and read that for you. It's called, titled, Japanese Generals Ready to Act Against Zionist Stooges as Reiwa Era Begins. The Japanese military is ready to act against Khazarian Zionist stooges now that the new Reiwa era has officially begun, according to several generals who contacted the White Dragon Society. Although the public is being told the new era starts on May 1, our NSA sources and Japanese right-wing sources say Emperor Naruhito assumed control today on April 1, 2019, or year 0 of the Reiwa era. The name Reiwa, and then they use the symbols of the Japanese lettering, can be translated as, quote, emphasizing harmonious Japaneseness, unquote, and is taken apparently for the first time in history from Japanese rather than Chinese classical text, according to Japanese scholars. This choice was inspired in part as a reaction to attempts by the Khazarian Mafia to sell out Japan to the Chinese in exchange for protection, Japanese right-wing sources say. The Khazarian Mafia agents like Richard Armitage and Michael Greenberg and Gerald Curtis have been stripped of their role as, quote, Japan handlers, unquote. As part of the start of the new era, says Japanese right-wing sources close to the emperor. The Japanese generals have been advised by the White Dragon Society that they will need to nationalize the foreign-owned Bank of Japan and take control of the Parliament, the Prime Minister's office, and the major media corporations if they wish for Japan to be an independent again. Several generals agreed and said it has already happened. However, the NSA sent a person to this writer's house today to verbally inform me that Emperor Naruhito takes orders from the Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim. They say that Carlos Slim, who gives orders to Naruhito, is not the same person as the Carlos Slim who appears in public, but rather is in a wheelchair, and he's a wheelchair-bound old man. In what may be partial confirmation of this information, the White Dragon Society has been contacted recently by Mexican organizations, claiming to be very powerful and offering institutional support. Events will show if there is any truth to this, but clearly if it is true, the trail leads from Mexico to the Vatican to the P2 Freemasons. Thus, it is worth noting that the P2 Freemasons have promised recently to work with Asian secret societies. Events in Italy at least seem to prove this to be true. For example, Italy already has become the first G7 country to formally agree to join China's massive 21 trillion Belt and Road Initiative, what they're calling BRI. Italian sources say their decision has made it inevitable that the other G7 countries will follow and join the BRI. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has already made positive comments about joining the BRI. Also, Germany is apparently trying to reverse the results of World War II by taking over France again. In fact, French resistance forces behind the Yellow Vest protest movement claim their country has already been taken over by Germany. Unlike World War II, this time they used bonds, not bombs, to do so. The fact that Germany and France have begun to meld their parliaments and military forces into a single organization is public proof that this is really happening. Also, in a development reported only in the Italian press, the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, has quietly announced that gold will once again be considered to be a cash equivalent to the U.S. dollar or euro. This goes directly against the 1971 decision by Richard Nixon to de-link the U.S. dollar from gold. It also shows BIS acceptance of a direct challenge to the petrodollar. The Chinese gold-backed oil futures trading. For more details, please use Google Translate or similar utility to read the Italian article at the link below, and it gives a link all in Italian on this particular future trade. Pentagon forces, for their part, confirmed that the quantum financial system, the global currency reset, and the emergence of gold-backed currencies are other signs of the decline of the petrodollar system. A multipolar world is happening, with the U.S. losing its unipolar moment, they admit. The loss of U.S. power has been confirmed by multiple events, such as the failure of its attempt to blockade Hawaii, Iran, and Venezuela. Henry Kissinger, creator of the petrodollar, is now a broken man following the failure of the summit he organized between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean strongman Kim Jong-un. Added sources close to the new Japanese emperor by way of confirmation. The world demands gold-backed currency. Then the regime in Washington, D.C. will surely implode. This year alone, for example, the U.S. is on track to post a trade deficit of $920 billion, which is equivalent to close to 20,000 tons of gold. Financing the projected U.S. fiscal deficit of $1.3 trillion would more than double the amount of gold needed to keep the Khazarian-run fake U.S. government going. Possibly the U.S. corporate government will try to blame its bankruptcy on an EMP attack, just as they blame the bankruptcy of Puerto Rico on a hurricane. Trump issued an executive order on March 26 to prepare for an EMP attack on, quote, the functions of government and the private sector so vital to the United States, their disruption, corruption, or dysfunction would have a debilitating effect on security, national economic security, national public health, or safety, unquote. The threat by Trump to close the U.S. border also may be an attempt to create a crisis to blame for the results of a government bankruptcy, CIA sources warn. The Khazarian Mafia is still trying anything and everything in its power to prevent the bankruptcy of Washington, D.C. by getting its hands on vast sums of gold. The failed attempt by the Rothschilds to use a fake Neil Keenan to try to convert bonds into 91,173 tons of gold was an example we reported last week. Now the Khazarian mob is going to try to take over Indonesia using a clone of their Venezuelan slave, Juan Guaido, CIA sources in Indonesia say. The Khazarian plan is to back a veteran Indonesian politician by the name of Prabowo Subianto, along with his charismatic vice presidential candidate Sandiaga Uno, they say. Uno would take over as president after Prabowo suffers a stroke, heart attack, or other accident soon after winning the election, sources say. However, Asian secret society sources in Indonesia say this plan will fail just like the attempt to take over Venezuela has failed. Pentagon sources for their part insist that Trump is helping end Khazarian mob rule while only pretending to support their various antisocial schemes around the world. They say, quote, Trump waited until the Mueller report was released, unquote, to recognize Israeli control over the Golan Heights. The real aim of this recognition was to use it as a casus belli for Russia, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Qatar, Jordan, and Lebanon, to move against Israel and Saudi Arabia. Furthermore, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was ordered to leave the United States early when he visited last week. He was not allowed to give a speech at the AIPAC or to lobby Congress during his visit, Pentagon sources confirm. The Khazarian Mafia's use of remote anti-hijacking software to crash Ethiopian Indonesian airlines recently is also having huge ripple effects. Pentagon sources say, quote, the Boeing 737 scandal may lead to revoked certifications, production termination, and a new narrow-body jet designed from scratch, forcing the company to build better, safer planes and military equipment, unquote. They say other military-industrial complex contractors also will be forced to clean up their act. That's unlikely to be enough to get executives of the military-industrial complex off the hook. Authorities around the world are re-examining other suspicious airline crashes. CIA sources say, for example, the governments of Holland, Russia, Australia, and Malaysia have begun cooperating to discover what really happened to Malaysia Air Flight 370-17. Furthermore, a British lab has found traces of explosives on a piece of a jet that supposedly crashed in 2010, killing most of the Polish government. This means many EU and Russian government officials may be tried soon for mass murder. The other airline crashes also had a strategic impact. The Malaysian airline Flight 370-17 crash killed Fairchild Semiconductor researchers on their way to China. The Lion Air crash killed 30 Indonesian central bankers, and the Ethiopian air crash killed 19 UN workers. Then, of course, let us not forget the results of 9/11. The wheels of justice are grinding steadily towards the Khazarian Mafia bosses who ordered these crashes. The fact that these investigations are allowed to take place at all is proof the Khazarian Mafia's lost power at a very fundamental level. When historians look back at these events, they will probably describe it like a fall of Babylon, the biggest historical event in thousands of years. May even end up being so big in the West that not just Japan will have to name a new era to replace Anno Domini, but because the hidden Roman emperors no longer dominate, their Babylonian debt slave system is imploding. That's the end of tonight's article.
Thank you so much, my sister Deb. You always bring some good stuff. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you. Okay, Willie. Have a good weekend. Good night.
Okay, good night. Okay. I have to make this announcement because it's now that time. Family and new callers, donations are needed at this time here at the beginning of the month so I can keep this blessed call going and I can continue to do my work behind the scenes that needs to be done. And I want to thank all my brothers and sisters who have donated in the past for your donations. Okay, whatever you can afford to donate at this time, whatever you can afford to donate, please go to my website, www.willies, W-I-L-L-I-E-S, truthcall.com, and it says Donations for Willie right there on the home page, and it's a drop-down menu that's there with, amounts on it. Now, whatever you can afford to donate at this time will be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay? And your donations are always used for good. If it wasn't used for good, this call wouldn't be on the air because I would be shut down. Okay? So whatever you can afford to donate at this time, please go to my website, www.willies, W-I-L-L-I-E-S, truthcall.com, and it says Donations for Willie. Thank you so much. Next caller is, okay, all right, I guess Eve disappeared on me. Next caller is 850.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, this is Laura from Northwest Florida.
Right, uh-huh.
Good evening. I have an article that I'd like to read, if I may. It's titled The History of the Prosperity Program.
Sure.
Okay, it was written by Blue River on Intel Dinar Chronicles, March 31st, and the text has been written several years ago. Okay, I'll begin. Comte de Saint-Germain was noted for rubbing elbows with the monarchies, many of which commented on his elaborate shoes stubbed with $40,000 diamonds and pearls. No one knew the source of his income. Then around 1727, he shared his secret money-making techniques to certain German bankers in hopes that they would use the money to help humanity. Using his techniques, they, along with the monarchies, chose to squander the money for themselves. Even to this day, these bankers have continued to keep this knowledge secret. Eventually, Saint-Germain realized the money was never going to be used for benevolent purposes. So he pulled his money out, and in 1729, he put it into his own world trust. At the founding of the trust, it was stipulated that this money would be released in the year 2000. Around the turn of the century, the children of the robber barons and banksters began to see the error in their parents' evilness and their use of wealth. These 100 children are known as wealthy visionaries. Together, they invested some of their family's money into secret money roll programs to be used for humanitarian purposes. The bankroll programs allow wealthy investors to make insane profits by ripping off the assets and resources from third world nations. The profits from these programs are utterly astronomical, as monthly returns can be in excess of 1 to 100,000 and 1 to 500,000. The name roll program comes from a method of rolling money over and over in short periods of time. At the end of each cycle, investors then reinvest or roll the principal and interest earned over into the next cycle. In the late 1990s, the bankroll programs finally ceased. Money earned from these bankroll programs became known as the Prosperity Program. Over time, the programs were secretly opened up to small investors so that one could invest as little as $100 at a time. These small amounts were handled by trustees who collected the money and kept records and combined the small investments into the large amount, let's say $1 million, that was required in order to enter a roll. The time has now come to release these prosperity funds and the funds from St. Germain World Trust. This money will be used to buy out all oil corporations, banks, pharmaceutical cartels, and zero out all debt. 250 years of compound interest has mushroomed the world's trust into a net worth in excess of $1 quadrillion. That is 1 with 40 zeros behind it. This is enough money to buy a gold cube the size of the orbit of Saturn. So astronomical, most people will not believe it. The money from the World Trust will be distributed in the following manner. Level 1. This is under the trusteeship of Master Saint Germain. At his direction, the World Trust can only be activated for payouts at only 2 times during any given year, Easter and Christmas. At Saint Germain's orders, the World Court activates the funding process. This process continues down through the 4 lower levels of trust to the people, and under certain conditions, the funding window remains open until the next holiday funding window begins. For example, if the Easter window is activated, the window can remain open until December 24th, the day before Christmas, at which time it closes. The window remains open only.
I need to say something, my sister. Okay, now
Sure,
that's the old one that you're reading. Okay, what the Galactics did and our Creator Correction did, that window was done away with about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay. It's not. Matter of fact, it's not going to even get close to December anyway. Okay.
So the timeline has changed. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. So this was a text of several years ago. So therefore, the process or the steps or the levels in this article is null and void or not relevant.
All of the above.
Okay.
Because that like I said, that was done away with about 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. That time frame of that Christmas time frame. Okay. And like I said, we're right on top of this thing getting ready to happen. Okay.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that is great news. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my sister, for bringing that. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just glad you were able to update me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay.
Thanks again. Love and peace to all.
Peace, my sister. Next call is 954.
Mr. Willie.
Hey. Hold on right quick, my brother. Eve, where did you disappear to?
Well,
Eve, where did you disappear to? But go ahead, my brother.
I don't have PayPal, so you'll have to call me after the call, and we can do the donation like you did before.
Okay, hold on, my brother. Hold on right quick, my brother, okay? I'll make sure I got your number here. Okay, can you hold on for a second, please?
Yeah, of course.
All right, my brother, I'll give you a call right after the call, okay, if that's all right with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Next call is 204.
Good evening, Brother Willie. It's Joe Gardner here calling from Brandon, Manitoba, Canada.
Right.
I was wondering, I know you were saying after Nasera Gasera that there won't be no interest in that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because all these other guys are always talking that, you invest your money and you can be able to live off the interest. I don't know, they're all mixed up there. How do you make your money grow then later? I was wondering if there's no interest.
Through creating, so your wealth manager is going to help you tremendously in creating jobs and business interests for you, right?
Okay. I have kind of a plan of what I want to do with it. Ordinary anyway, like different businesses and that,
Correct. And that's how you're going to maintain an income, okay, to keep from exhausting your primary money.
Yeah, because otherwise you take the principal down and then there'll be none left.
Right.
And also you had mentioned on one call quite a while ago, there's going to be optional fuels. Will that run farm and construction equipment also?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What about for older pre-electronic? Like I like older equipment. I don't like the newer electronic stuff because you can't fix it yourself. Will it run them too, like the older equipment?
Well, yeah, it will, because they can convert it where it can be modular.
Okay.
Okay, by them adding on a component, one or two components.
Yeah.
Okay, where it can adapt to the alternative fuels and safe and safe.
I thought maybe it had to be the newer with the electronic stuff to make it work. No. Okay, well, that's all I had to ask tonight. And well, thanks for taking my call. So we'll talk to you again.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.
Mm-hmm. That was the final caller for tonight. We had a great call tonight, family. A great call tonight. And I want to thank everyone for their participation on tonight's call. This was a great Monday night's call. I mean, this was a good call. At this time, I'd like to end the call tonight with a final prayer. Dear Creator Crexland, I'm calling on you this time to watch and protect the family, myself, and our brother Gene in our homes tonight. We will lay our heads down on our pillows. I'm asking you to protect us against Makah's evil and against all evil, both seen and unseen, and all future evils. I'm asking for the same divine protection for every man and woman of your Nasara White Knight teams worldwide. Continue to take these good men and women so they may bring forth your Nasara, so that we may have our freedom, our sovereignty, and our prosperity given back to us. I'm also asking you to chasten us and bestow wisdom, restore common sense, and all of us as a receivership of great wealth, your blessed wealth. Make us all understand this blessed wealth must be used for good and not evil. All this I ask in the mighty name of my In the mighty name of my Creator Crexland, I ask it all. So be it. Let it be done. Family and new callers, I have nothing but love for you. We see you on tomorrow night's call. May Crexland bless you and your families.